Hello everyone, it is I, Tiger. I am here to take an in-depth look into Cavendish and Dakota's history. We really don't know much about them, we only get a few clues throughout the show. That means it is my job to overanalyze the clues and piece them together. First, we have Balthazar Tiberius Cavendish. The furthest back we could go with Cavendish is that before he met Dakota, he studied time travel for 20 years, he was once a barrister in the Queen's court, and he used to play the piano. This is way more than we know about Vinnie Dakota. There is a possibility that he is the reason why parking tickets were invented. His maiden name is Drousapp, and before he met Cavendish, he prevented the Mississippi Purchase. Even though that's not that much information, since Cavendish didn't know about that, this could mean that he's been a time traveler longer than Cavendish. Especially because Dakota is Cavendish's first time traveling partner. Let's try to figure out how old Cavendish and Dakota are. The only thing we got from Dan is him completely avoiding the question by saying technically they haven't been born yet. At least this confirms that they are both from the future. Most likely they're from the year 2175. But since they won't tell us how old they are, I guess we have to look into the clues left behind by the show. With Cavendish, we already know that he spent 20 years studying time travel. So that's a good place to start. It takes at least 5 years to become a barrister. Then, a barrister needs 10 to 15 years of experience to apply for a patent to become a barrister for the Queen. At least, that's what it says on Google. If he became a lawyer before becoming a time traveler, that would mean by the time he met Dakota, the youngest he can possibly be is 53 years old. And that would make sense. In the Christmas episode, Cavendish and Dakota get into a fight, 20 years go by, and I would say that, yeah, Cavendish does look like he's in his 70s. The only problem is that in the episode First Impression, he really doesn't look like he's in his 50s. Probably because of the long blonde hair. But comparing his design to Doof when he was 57 in the episode Act Your Age, I mean, for someone who's 57, the only thing showing his age is his gray hair. No wrinkles or anything, and he's 57! Doof ages like fine wine. Cavendish could be dyeing his hair blonde, and that's why he looks young. I mean, in the present, he has gray hair. In the episode Phineas and Ferb Quantum Boogaloo, Doof is 67 years old. We can sort of use these 3 different versions of Doof to roughly compare his design to determine a character's age. It would make way more sense if Cavendish was in his 70s in that episode. So when he met Dakota, he could have been around 53 years old. For Dakota, we got a glimpse at how old he is in the episode Backwards to School Night. After the parents and the teacher get hit by the age regressor, Cavendish says that their ages have been regressed by 90%. And Milo says, all we need to do is keep our 3-year-old parents safe. 3 divided by 0.1 equals 30. 30 years old. But that would mean that all the parents, the teacher, and Dakota are the same age. The odds of that are really slim to begin with, but the main problem is that would mean Martin had Sarah when he was around 14 years old. Ooh. I really don't think that's true. So either Cavendish said 90% to sound smart, even though he doesn't actually know how much their ages have been regressed. I mean, it's not like he knows how old the parents and the teacher are. Or he was using Dakota as a reference. This could mean Dakota is in his early 30s. But wait, if he's in his 30s, that means somebody didn't study time travel for 20 years like Cavendish did. Or maybe Cavendish is just completely wrong about the age regressor. Dr. Doof is 57 in the episode Act Your Age, but he looks younger than Dakota's future self in A Christmas Carol. His design looks like an older version of a 57-year-old Doof, which makes me think he's in his early 60s in that episode. What I think is that Dakota is in his early 40s while Cavendish is in his early 50s. But if we're talking about canon age, since their ages are still a mystery, Cavendish is definitely older than 38 because he studied time travel for 20 years. With Dakota, I guess it's safe to assume that because of the age regressor, he's older than 30. Now it's time to get into the more complicated stuff. How long have they been partners? That's something I skipped over because there is no clear answer. When they first met, Cavendish had blonde hair, now he has gray hair. Also, Dakota got a haircut and Mr. Block gained weight and trimmed his hair. On Dakota's island, all the Dakotas have sunglasses with 3 holes on the side of them, while when they first met, Dakota's sunglasses didn't have any holes. There are also no Dakotas on his island wearing the same outfit he wore when he met Cavendish. Which means it is possible that Cavendish cut his hair, let his hair turn gray, and grew a mustache as part of his disguise, while Dakota trimmed his hair and changed his outfit. I mean, when they first meet Brick and Savannah, the first thing they do is comment on their outfits.
Wait a moment, you get tuxedos?
Yes, and you get high school theater costumes?
The outfits they're wearing now are still fairly new, so we can't really use that as an indicator of time, but what about the other missions they've gone on? Taking a look at all the ways Cavendish died in the episode The Island of Lost Dakotas, a handful of them do not look like they are pistachio related. Space, dinosaurs, volcano layer? Even some of Dakota's outfits look like they came from a different mission. These could have been missions they got before they had to protect pistachios. At the beginning of Season 1, Cavendish and Dakota treated their pistachio mission way more seriously than they do later on.
Corporate sent us to protect these nuts, so back off and let us do our job, okay?
Since the footage Dakota showed at the Supreme Tribunal were clips from Season 1, the last one being the only one we haven't seen before, it seems like as soon as the show starts, that's when Cavendish and Dakota got demoted to protecting pistachios. What caused them to get demoted?
How come we always get stuck with the outdated lemon?
Well, because the last time they gave us a new car, we destroyed Earth's second moon.
Before then, we don't really know what they did. The amount of Dakotas on his island can be an indicator to how long they've known each other. That's a lot of Dakotas. If Cavendish started dying after they became partners, if they haven't known each other for that long, and sometimes Cavendish could be a little bit mean to him, why would Dakota want to go back in time to save his life? Hahaha, well, I got a dark theory. Probably won't be true, but I like this dark theory. Dakota seems to be a good agent. I'd even say that he's a better agent than Cavendish. Mr. Block likes him more than Cavendish.
Dakota? Cavendish?
He's the one who knew where to find Brick and Savannah.
I may know somebody with an intertemporal communicator. Come on.
Dakota seems to know things that Cavendish doesn't.
Yes, no one can ever say that we are worse than trash ever again.
We have succeeded in our mission, and wait, do people say that?
He even stole Brick and Savannah's weapons. They're first-class agents, and somehow a third-class agent stole their weapons. And like I mentioned before, Dakota stopped the Mississippi Purchase without Cavendish. There's even that Christmas episode. Cavendish still has their old time machine. But look at Dakota's time machine. Mr. Block could have given him that bike time machine if he really didn't like him. So if he's a good agent, and Mr. Block likes him, why is he a third-class agent? And who was Dakota's first partner? It wasn't Cavendish, but for some reason he needed a new partner. Maybe he could have gone on the mission alone, but so far we haven't seen a bot agent working solo.
New time agent recruits, please select a vehicle for your driving test. If you survive today, you'll get your first assignment and partners tomorrow. Thank you.
Right after the driver's test, that's when you get your first partner and mission. We already know that Dakota stopped the Mississippi Purchase, so he already passed his driver's test and got a partner. But what happened to that partner? Why did he need a new partner? My dark theory is that Dakota's previous partner died. After that, he got demoted to third class and paired with Cavendish.
Really? Now?
Just seeing if it works. Besides, I eat when I'm nervous and float cone wasn't open.
Dakota is a stress eater. He eats more when he's stressed. What is the first thing he does when he meets Cavendish?
You risked our lives for a lousy burrito?
No. I risked our lives for an amazing burrito.
Before he was paired with Cavendish, something stressed him out so much he stole a time machine to go back in time to his favorite burrito place, even taking a shortcut to get there as fast as possible. As a joke, we got this.
Vehicle for your driving test. If you survive today, you'll get your...
And don't forget about Cavendish constantly dying, but for some reason he stops dying in Season 2. This could mean that being a time traveler is a very dangerous job. After being paired with Cavendish, something bad happens to him. Even if they didn't know each other for that long, and even if Cavendish is mean to him, Dakota felt like he had no other choice but to go back in time to undo what happened. To not lose another partner, and possibly get fired for not being able to protect his partner. Since Dakota already went back in time to save him, why not do it again, and again, and again? He could have stopped eventually, but...
He's Cavendish. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Dakota's previous partner dying can totally be a possibility. But most likely his previous partner didn't want to be partners anymore. We did get this line.
You're barely even agents. You are the lowest of low-level government employees paired together because no one else will have you.
Maybe that's why Dakota goes back in time to save Cavendish. Because even though they have their differences, Cavendish didn't want to replace him. As of Season 2, they are banned from time traveling. However, other people are still allowed to use their time machine. They quickly get hired by Mr. Block's great-great-great-grandfather, Bob Block. Now that they can't time travel anymore, Dakota becomes a little more protective over Cavendish, putting himself in danger to do that. Pretty sure if there's another season, Dakota will end up doing something to save Cavendish but end up getting seriously hurt or kidnapped. Then Cavendish would have to go and save him. It would make their friendship a little bit more satisfying because we often see how much Dakota cares about Cavendish, but on the other hand, Cavendish often gets mad at Dakota and blames him for things he didn't do. We only see a little bit of Cavendish's more caring side.
Gosh, how fortunate. You could have been hurt.
Yeah, I could have been hurt. That's the takeaway here.
He was literally about to walk under that, but instead of thinking about that, the first thing he thinks of is that Dakota could have gotten hurt. Cavendish was also shown to be willing to sacrifice himself to protect Dakota. And when he went rogue, he didn't want Dakota to follow him because he was worried about him getting hurt. Even though, without Dakota, well...
Stop already, please, stop!
How is he still alive? Talking about Cavendish going rogue, if Cavendish is in his early 50s, that would make sense. He was having a midlife crisis. Even Cavenpuss said,
I highly doubt that I would go rogue. Doesn't sound like me at all.
when you're having a midlife crisis, you don't often do things you normally do. And that's about it. I feel like we need another season. There are so many characters that didn't really get a moment to shine in Season 2 because someone was taking up all the screen time. But I digress. I hope you enjoyed the video, stay safe, and goodbye.
The road ahead, it twists and turns, and the sun beats down and it burns. But I keep on pushing through. And every step quicker than the last, my feet tread